It's so good to be here with all of you. I live in Austin, Texas, which is our blue dot in our red state. Lots of fertile ground there. With my husband, Doug, and our 8 children. I know. It's a lot. I tell people we became pro-life and we couldn't stop breeding. The truth is, though, we have to keep having kids because we have to keep creating new conservatives. So that's my plan. We'll just outbirth them. So our daughter is 12, and she'll be 13 on Saturday. Pray for us. And yeah, she already knows everything. Yeah. Then I had 4 boys in a row, so they are 7, 6, 5, and 4. I know, I was there. And then we had twin girls. They're 2 years old. And then I have a 5-month-old baby, little boy. So, yeah, so we do know how it happens, and we like it. So in our set of 4 boys, the first 2 boys are 11 months apart. The second 2 boys are 14 months apart, and the youngest 2 are 6 months apart. And even though I move fast, I don't move quite that fast. So our youngest son in the set of 4 was actually gifted to us through open adoption. And I'll tell you that story. I was in Atlanta speaking for a pregnancy center, and I'm in this group on Facebook. There's about 30 of us women. We're all really good friends. And one of the women in there lives in Maryland, and she's a sign language interpreter, and she interprets for the deaf community in her church. She became friends with a woman. This woman was pregnant. This was her 4th baby. And she was married, but this baby had actually not been conceived with her husband. She had been a victim of a violent assault and had conceived. And she made an adoption plan for her son. And 2 weeks before her due date, she got an email from the adoptive family saying, "We've been thinking about it, and we've decided that since there's a possibility that your child could also be deaf, we don't want him." So another family was called, but they weren't interested because the baby was biracial and they wanted a white baby that looked like them. So my friend posts in this Facebook group, and she says, look, here's the situation. Please be praying for this woman. And if any of you happen to know anyone who would be ready to take a baby, adopt a baby in 2 weeks or less, let me know. So I saw it pop up, and I said, we will. And so my friend called me immediately, and she said, are you nuts? And I was like, yeah, I mean, look, we have so many babies in our house right now. I'm not even sure we'd notice another one if you threw it in. It's just... So she said, okay, well, I'm going to call the mom and let her know that I found a family. And I was like, amazing, do that, because we are in. So I hung up the phone, and I thought to myself, I should call my husband. And what I really thought was, can I send this in a text message? But I thought I better not. So I called him, and he was a little mad. I don't know if mad's the right word. You know, he was more panicked because, see, my husband is actually a stay-at-home dad. So this really affects him more than me. So he didn't talk to me for a couple days, and then he finally called me, and he said, I've been writing a pros and cons list, and he said, every time I think of a reason, this is crazy, this is insane, we should not do this, he said, I look into our future, and that little boy is always there. And he said, I think we should do it. And I said, honey, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because the lady doing our home study is going to be at the house tomorrow. So would have been weird if he had said no. So 2 weeks later, a baby was born, and we went to Maryland to meet him and his amazing mom for the first time. And we were trying to think of what we wanted to name him. We knew we wanted to name him something that started with the letter J. His birth mother's name, it starts with J, and her 3 other children, their names start with J, so we wanted to honor her in that way. And we are Roman Catholic, and so we like to name our kids a family name and a saint name. And there are so many saints, though, and I could not think of a good name. So I went online to like saints.com or something, and I clicked on the letter J, and I started going through the list, and nothing was jumping out to me. I got to the bottom, and I saw St. Jude. And for those of you who don't know, in the Catholic faith, St. Jude is the patron saint of desperate or impossible cases. And I thought, you know what? That's the perfect name for this little boy, because there had to be times when his mother felt like God had given her an impossible cross to bear. There had to be times of desperation. When she found out that she was pregnant, she went to family and friends and people in her church looking for advice, looking for counsel, for help, for support, for anything. And almost every single one of them said to her, well, you know, this is the one time that abortion is okay. This is the one time that abortion is acceptable. These are those exceptions that we always talk about. And she very courageously looked back at them and said, it's either a baby all the time or it's a baby none of the time, and God doesn't make mistakes.